Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everybody? It's a Sunday edition of Anabolic Bodybuilding Live. Just a heads up, everybody, I have got the Science of Performance-Enhancing Drugs and Anabolics e-course up for sale for the Olympia. There's a 20% off sale. Use code Olympia at checkout. There is a link to the course in the video description. Also, I have it in my Instagram stories if you want to catch it there. So what's going on, guys?
Hello.
Amy's trying to win the fight with her camera.
It's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Kolton, Kevin, my client, is like, why did you move to Canada? Kevin lives in Canada.
Yeah. No, it's a complete. Well, I wanted to invest in real estate, and then it just didn't work out here. It's just too hectic, and I didn't realize as bad as it was here before I got here. So like, the economics here aren't great, right? And like, you hear stories of people who've had successful times investing, and like, there's pretty lenient rules in terms of like, if you're not a citizen, how much you can invest, which is really nice. But at the same time, you don't realize like how bad the economics are until you're here. It's pretty fucking freaky. So I will be heading back after the Olympia and the Swiss convention. I'll be back in Thailand, hopefully.
So headed back to Thailand, man. You miss the...
Dude, I miss it so much. I miss it so much. It's crazy. Like, everything about it is just infinitely better than here. And I can't even explain it in the words that would make sense, but it's just freedom. And in general, being able to do things without having to worry about laws or regulations. And it sounds like I'm doing all these illegal things, but it's just not really that. It's just that I have the freedom to be like, oh, I want to buy this today, and it's like a motorcycle. I'm just going to go buy it. Or I want to drive this car, and I don't have a license in this country, but no one's going to pull me over anyways, so I might as well just drive it. Or, I want to go to this gym today, but I have a membership at this gym, and I know that they will require another membership, but I just go there and say, hey, I'm working with this gym, and they're like, okay, cool, come in. And it's just a lot less. It's more low key, and I just fucking miss it. That's the big story.
Yeah, it seems like it's very chill there, man. If I didn't have my kids, man, I'd be catching the next flight over with you.
Yeah, it's impeccable. The gear's cheap. It's everywhere. You can walk into any pharmacy. The gyms are great. The community is great, and it's just a lot of people are like, well, I had one guy comments on my live last week who's like, well, Thailand's just a place for people who are broke to go to feel like they're important. I'm like, no, it's a place where I go who makes good money to make my money go so much further for me instead of buying the same things here for 10 times the price, literally. Like, it's just a better way to live if you're young and you have, fluid income, and it's just nice.
Yeah, I mean, for like what we do, like we work completely online. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Live in a place that's cheaper, with more access to everything that we do. I mean, it just seems like a great way to live.
Yeah, it's an amazing way to live. And when you can really start to realize that is when you get into real estate there, and you can get a really nice place to live that's extremely comfortable compared to living in a really cramped in apartment in Canada or United States for an equivalent cost. You can have a full house with multiple bedrooms, bathrooms, pools, and it's just really great. And I think a lot of people have this bad depiction of it because of some people in our industry, actually, but it's a beautiful place, man. And the people are so respectful and awesome, and it's way different. It's just a whole different social climate, I guess.
Yeah, I've heard that people are very friendly and welcoming there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. They don't even speak your language, and they just love you. It's awesome. Which, some people might say is because they want your money, but I don't think that's so true, actually.
Well, I'm sure you're an anomaly over there too, man. A big, jacked up, tall redhead.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like the tallest guy walking around, and then simultaneously I have like tattoos everywhere, which is kind of crazy. So
people probably just stopping to take pictures of you just because you are who you are.
Yeah, literally. It's great.
Dude, it's so weird now. I went to a concert the other night with my daughter and got recognized at the concert. Like, there's this
That's trippy.
This kid rolled up. It's like, Big Paul. Is that you? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. And he's like, you like basement? I'm like, well, my daughter's here. They're all right. I brought my daughter here, and he like him and his buddy wanted to take pictures with me. It was so weird, man. Do you guys get recognized now? I mean, I know Kurt has been. Yeah. I'm sure people recognize you too, Chase.
Yeah, a little bit.
I get a lot of fist bumps at the gym. They don't say anything. People just walk up to me.
I mean, I don't go anywhere. Like I come to my gym, I go home, I go to the grocery store. So I don't see it that much because I'm just not in public ever. So, yeah.
I mean,
I recognize plenty at like Swiss.
Oh yeah. I mean, Colin knows that. Like, I've been going on and off hours at the gym, man. It's like a live Q&A when I go to the gym. Hey, Dick Paul, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I have thoughts sometimes to be like, let's change it up and go, to a whatever nearby gym, and I'm just like, nah, I don't want it.
It's sort of calmed down at the shop because everybody knows me now, and Colin and I go in late. Yeah. Usually, I've been hitting the afternoon once in a while too, just because stuff I got going on in my life. But I went and worked out at another gym with one of my clients, another local gym here the other night, and it took me 3 hours to get through my workout just because people kept stopping me, man.
It takes me long enough by myself, like, because usually I'll like film a workout or whatever, whether I use the footage or not. But so that adds time onto it. But yeah.
And also, I worked out with some 25-year-olds the other night, and I can't feel my pecs still. These guys destroyed me.
That's all.
Are we gonna do like some training at the Olympia?
Sure, I'll go with you if they don't.
I think we should.
I'm training my liver at the Olympia, man. I don't know about you.
Kurt, I didn't know you trained. What are you talking about?
I don't.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, if we get time, it'd be nice to get a workout in at some point.
No, yeah, for sure.
You don't need to lift if you do gear. All the studies show.
Yeah, right. All you need is
if we do, it's going to have to be in the morning, though.
I just do 600 milligrams a test for 20 weeks at a time, and I gain 20 pounds. And then I do that again. And I do
that was Kurt and I. I'll have the
video ever.
Yeah, I'll have the interview up next week. But Kurt and I, it was a really good one we did with Paul Carter yesterday. Paul was just fascinated with like my training. He was like, bro, he's like, you do like everything that I think is wrong with training, and you grow, and it's just
imagine that.
Fascinated, and like it's got to be the anabolics, and I'm like, yeah, they work, man.
Well, it's cool just to get it out there so people don't understand that. So you have, from lifting weights, you only have mechanical tension that causes growth. From steroids, there's 3 separate pathways that cause growth. So it allows guys on drugs to not even worry about mechanical tension, and they'll grow the same way. But if guys trained, so I would say Dorian Yates is the only person that comes to mind that probably did both. And that's probably why he was so damn big, because he was the only one that got a stimulus from his training that was appropriate, plus the gear, in my mind. I mean, not just that clearly drugs work on their own, but that's kind of cool when you think about it. They're totally different mechanisms and they're not related at all. Mm-hmm. So that's why you see guys like pros, you can't copy they do goofy shit. Mm-hmm. After like you watch their leg workout, you're like, what the heck is that?
Well, it's funny.
A movement.
Yeah, you watch like their videos, like training videos, and they walk into the gym. They're like, if they're like training with somebody else, like, what do you want to do? Like, they have no plan. They're just like, what are we gonna do today?
That's kind of how I work out anymore.
But it doesn't, you know what I mean? But in theory, it doesn't really matter. And that's why for guys on gear, you could say training doesn't matter, unless you want to be Dorian Yates.
Unless you want to be Dorian Yates. My main thing in the gym now, like my motivation, I love being in the gym. I love working out, but my number one objective when I'm in there is just to not get hurt. I want to lift another day, because I feel like I'm a porcelain doll at this point. Like if I do anything crazy, I'm just going to snap.
Yeah. I go on bouts of like logging workouts, just I don't know, it's a different kind of fun for me. But then, after like a cycle of that, like an 8-week whatever, I'll just, put the book aside and just go have fun for 8 weeks, and just kind of like, I go back and forth between that, depending on how I'm feeling.
Part of me would like to just do a progressive overload block just to see how it works, but keep the reps a little bit higher and stick with safer exercises.
Yeah.
But I don't know if at my age if that's smart or not.
I'm with you, Paul. Like when I was in my late 20s, even early 30s, it was all about, I wanted to max out on everything I did. It was just about maxing out, seeing how much weight I could do. Now, as I get older, it's like, it's just about being healthy, looking good and being healthy. And I feel like I'm going to break in half if I tried to max out anymore. I'm not interested in it.
Well, like literally, if I go in and like, let's say if I go bananas on my shoulder will be so sore or so fucked up I can't sleep. So I'm like, well, that can't be productive.
It's probably like one of the most annoying things when I go to like some sort of like public setting thing. Somebody's always going to ask like, how much do you bench or something like that? And I'm just like, I don't really know. I do lots of reps. So it's just, and they're just kind of like, what? You don't max? What are you talking about? So then you're like, 500. I do 500, whatever.
It's reps.
500 for 5. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not the singles, because you get real big doing singles.
I always love the perplexed look on their face when I tell them I haven't bench pressed in years.
Yeah.
And then they just look at me like, huh?
I find one of the strangest phenomenons in fitness, Paul would probably relate to this, be like when I started going to the gym, the weight rooms and gyms was always very separate from the cardio stuff, and women didn't go in that room. Like it was gross, it was dirty, guys making noise, dropping shit. And like then there was like the place with the Nautilus equipment that like mostly women, middle-aged guys just went to that part. And then with CrossFit, I'm guessing, is what brought women into like lifting more serious. But what I think is weird is you see a lot of women doing like powerlifting moves, like benching singles and arching their back and stuff, but benching 65 pounds for singles. Yeah. And I think there's a weird disconnect, because do they assume that that's going to make them look better, or do they actually think they're going to get strong?
I don't know.
I'm not dissing anyone. It just seems so like you're never going to look any better lifting like a power lifter. It doesn't make any sense.
I think they just like being strong.
In my experience. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
We have a pretty badass group of female powerlifters at my gym. Colin can tell you, there's some girls there that are crazy strong. That one girl, it's a cop. I can't remember her name, but I mean, she deadlifts like up near 500 pounds.
Yeah.
It's crazy squatting. Like I've spotted her on squats, doing 405.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She probably squats more than me.
How much does she weigh?
Like 160, 170. She's a professional power lifter.
That's still nuts. It's crazy.
But we do have like some younger girls like coming in from college, seeing that in the gym, being like, I want that for me. and so like those girls, if you talk to them, they'd be like Paul said, like, yeah, I'm doing this because I want to be strong. Not necessarily like look a certain way.
Do you guys follow Hunter Henderson at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, she probably inspires some people. I saw her at the Arnold. Kurt, you and I were standing there. She squatted like.
Was that the one squatting next to us in the cage?
Yeah, squatted like 650 or something.
Crazy. She was strong. Yeah.
Yeah, she just.
Pee her pants?
Was that the animal? That was the animal.
Yeah, yeah. We saw her, and we saw Julius Maddox bench like what was beast, like 7 something.
Yeah. He's a fucking beast.
Yeah, I saw Hunter. She just got her qualification for the Olympia too. So she's not only strong, she's massive.
Yeah, she's crazy, man. The Maddox guy, dude. He when I trained at Destination Dallas, he would come there every once in a while and do his training, and I was always blown away.
Yeah, she's massive, man. She just got her Olympia qualification. What was her back? Look, check her back out.
That's gnarly.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Pre-prep and prep. Yeah, Maddox is he's insane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a super nice guy too.
He is. Always wears overalls, which I think is hilarious. Whenever he trains, he'll wear overalls.
Fantastic.
Didn't he start? Wasn't the story? I could be wrong about this, but I thought I heard the story that he didn't start lifting until later. Like he was like a guy got started later in lifting. Most of these guys that are people that are freaks and hit those either size or strength early. They're usually people that started off young. But I'm pretty sure I heard that he didn't start lifting until later in life.
Can't recall.
But yeah, he's nuts. I forget what it was. Do you remember what he benched there at the Arnold we saw? It was 7 something, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot.
It's when we were standing there talking to John.
Yeah.
At the animal booth. So who do you guys think is going to win the Olympia?
Probably Derek, I'll be honest. I think as much as everyone else looks really impressive, I just don't think anyone beats Derek proportionally in terms of like his back development. He just has a beautiful shape to me. If you turn the lights off and you had a light behind him and you could just see his silhouette, I feel like the silhouette alone is better in proportion compared to many other people. But on top of that, when you turn the lights on, he has conditioning, he has actual like well-developed musculature. It's not just the shape, but it's also like the detail orientation of it. Whereas Hadi Chupon comes to a close second, but he's getting a little older, and I think you can start to see that in his arms and his quads, and they're kind of flattening out a little bit, whereas Derek is just getting fuller. And so, in my opinion, I don't think anyone's taking Derek away.
Did you guys see Samson at the France Pro?
He looked pretty good, yeah. He looked insane. I don't even think I hoped at least he didn't peak for that. I think he just kind of walked on stage.
Yeah, I mean, he looked decent. I thought he looked like he's a little better than he was at the Arnold. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But him getting peaked, that's always been his issue.
I still think when you face him, like he looks huge, but when you face him in the back, it just like that is going to be lacking compared to a lot of other guys. His front shots, his silhouette, it's all beautiful. He's got like great muscle insertions, but when he turns around, it's just that back is still a little bit too, I don't want to say shallow, but narrow maybe compared to
hard when you're tall.
Yeah, exactly. It's super fucking hard. It's super even what's that other guy's name? God damn it, the other Nigerian dude who's fucking Andrew. Yeah, he's still got like a very high lat insertions too, kind of the same thing going on, but yeah, like that is, it's just not as, I don't know what to call it. Like it's a great back, don't get me wrong, but there's something missing.
I think it's called being tall.
yeah.
I agree. I think it's going to be cool to see him and Andrew next to each other. Like, I don't think either one of them are going to be going for first, but I think it'll be cool to compare those two. But yeah.
Yeah. If you've seen the recent picture of Derek or his recent videos, it's just, it blows me away. My jaw drops every time.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. He's crazy looking. I think Derek for sure is going to take it again. Like, there's just,
like his back
it's too nutty.
Dude, it's
like down the middle of his back is just so thick. It's insane. Like, it's wild. Yeah.
The only person
he's got that graininess too, which is like so fucking crazy, man. He's got graininess. He's full. His hamstrings are just dug out. Like, I don't know. It's going to be a hard package to for anyone to face, honestly.
That's what's crazy too. Like how deep like the cuts in like his glutes get is insane. Yeah. And that's just like impressive in its own right. It's like, oh my God, like it just makes him appear to be that much, leaner than everybody else. Cause nobody has the same, like, okay, it looks like almonds, they're crazy.
And I think what people don't realize too, unless you meet these people in person, is he's like a short person. Yeah. So his width is even that more impressive when you shrink him down. It's fucking insane.
I wonder how far you'd have to scroll down those comments before you found somebody telling him he was doing it wrong.
Oh man, not very far.
Yeah, dude, just look at
Hey,
that.
bro, your
Yeah, look at that
sucks.
mid back, man. That's
This
insane.
is
Crazy.
hanging
It's
down
got like
his
a-
back. It's just,
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think you need a little, change the angle a little bit on those so you're getting more activation.
Don't think it's working.
Those look exactly like mine. That's
If you notice how I do my back exercises,
I was doing these yesterday. Like my back just looks so flat compared to that. It's so sad. Just down the middle, like you can see my fucking spine. It's like, what is it?
you got a pretty dense back, Chase.
Nah, I mean it's nothing like that.
I mean, there's only one guy in the world that looks like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
I mean, I don't know. Hadi looks pretty damn good too.
Hadi looks really good. I'm a huge fan of Hadi. I'm honestly probably one of his biggest fans out of everybody on the stage, but I just think he's hitting that age where it's not working as well. I don't know, like the peaking process, he still comes in so fucking hard, but the fullness is just what I don't see compared to Derek.
He's so strong too, man. It's crazy how fucking strong he is, man.
He's a fucking
Jamie.
yeah. Look at that. How old is he too? Like he's not young.
He's in his
That's
40s.
crazy.
Yeah, he's in his 40s. That's fucking nuts.
Got every plate.
Literally put as many plates as
Yeah, you can't
put
do
up.
it anymore.
The entire country of Iran on his back and then did the
Yeah.
squat.
That's crazy, man.
This is 2 days ago, so this is 2 weeks out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have good legs. I can't.
Yeah.
I would not put myself through that.
Awesome.
Even if I
Incredible.
could, I wouldn't.
I'd do it
At
with
this
tens. I don't think I would do it with tens on there.
My femurs would just snap in two, man. That's insane.
Yeah, that shit ain't happening. So, Amy, you got your technical issue solved? Can you hear it?
No, this is like the world's oldest camera that I'm using.
Oh,
I finally just gave up. I like went through a closet looking for like an old webcam that's like collecting dust
That's
in the
okay.
closet. But it works, unlike all of the other fancy 4K cameras that I have access to. I found some
There you
janky
go.
Logitech.
Aw.
And the
You got
I
leopard
can't
print
figure out
on,
how
so
to
we'll
turn
let
the
it
dimness
slide.
up on my
Yeah, we can't lose you even in the low resolution with those pants on. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Where'd she go? There she is.
right?
Yeah, I don't know about Andrew Jack though. There's just something I don't know about. There's just something weird about his physique to me. Like that just doesn't.
I agree. It is weird. It's like alien looking, but there's something definitely weird that seems. I don't know what's the word, like artificial compared to other people. I don't know. I mean, it looks great, but it's just like there's something really different about it. I think.
Seems like everybody always forgets about Nick though too. I don't know. Nick is always in shape, but I think genetically he just like is probably maxed out what he can do. Like I don't like if Hadi and Derek are at their best, he probably can't beat them.
No, I mean it's his quads. They just don't match. Like it just throws everything off from the front, and so like if he's losing all the front shots, in that regard, it makes it really tough for him.
Dude though he always has it together, man. He never. I don't. Has he ever been off? I don't know that I've ever seen him off.
I don't think so. No. It's so tough because he works fucking hard. He's always showing up. It's just the proportions are just not quite there. And if as soon as he lets that stomach go, it's like you can really tell. So he has to that's like his prerogative when posing is just holding that stomach tight. Because if it even comes loose for a second, it's just like, sheesh, man.
Yeah.
It becomes really apparent.
I mean, he has made the most out of the least, I think. I mean, I don't know that anybody has overcome their genetics as much as he has.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, I admire that guy. He's just willed his way up to where he's at. I don't know that anybody else has quite done what he's done.
Yeah, he's fucking massive, dude. His side shots are unbelievable. Like some of the best in the world for sure. But
Oh yeah,
when he faces
the side and back shots are awesome,
especially his back
incredible.
double. Holy fuck!
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, his front double is great too, but it's like his legs are just like his quads they insert so low they don't go up to his hip. It's just kind of it looks odd.
Vic thinks
throws it all off.
Andrew's winning the O. I don't see that happening unless like 3 or 4 people come in off.
I mean, if Andrew's winning, then Samson's getting second because they think those two like they're gonna. If that's the look that they're going for, because that's kind of the thing is that you got Hadi and Derek look completely different from Andrew and Samson. It's like, what look do they want?
And even then, like, truth be told, and it sucks, but the black dudes have a really hard time getting that, like, the glutes and hamstrings to come in, like Derek, like Hadi, and you would have to get. I mean, they would have to shrink down to actually get into the conditioning required to. In my mind, to beat any of those guys.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
They would sort of lose their wow factor if they actually brought themselves down that much.
Man, guys, I did an interview this week, and I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna dice it up in chunks. I had Larry Pollock on, and Larry was the drug dealer to all of the. Ryan probably knows, but he sold to all the guys in the Venice Beach and stuff back in the
Gold's
80s,
Gym.
and then he started up his own UGL. I think it was Stallion Labs down in Mexico. He had some insane stories. He told me about when he got kidnapped by the cartel.
Yeah, he was kidnapped. That's crazy.
They stole all his money, and he got kidnapped and escaped. He lived with Mike Menser for years. He's had some crazy Mike Menser stories. Some of them I'm like, man, should I put this up? It is there is some crazy Mike Menser stories in there. It's going to get some feathers ruffled, but I'm going to work on getting these diced up into some chunks this week. But the one about him escaping from the cartels was insane. Like he like basically hitchhiked his way back to the border. It was nuts. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I should see if he wants to come on here sometime. Larry's got some crazy stories.
Yeah.
And he knows what all the guys were taking back then too, because he was selling the stuff to them. Him telling me about Joe Weider getting very friendly with the massage oil backstage at bodybuilding shows.
Yeah, I mean,
Speak
from what I
about
understand,
that.
the man really loved bodybuilding. From
We
what I
will get
understand.
shut down.
You have to be careful
We
with
don't
that one.
speak about that.
He's a big fan.
Bodybuilding is not like that. It's not based on that.
There were some good ones with Mike too. Mike would get friendly with some people too.
I'm like, I don't know what stories are going to make it onto YouTube and what stories.
I've told Colin some of these. Like I'm like going through it. Like I'm trying to edit this video. I'm like, man, should I put this up?
Do it. He said it. Put it up. It'll go nuts. People will share that. Be like, holy shit.
Yeah, Mike seemed to be the boy toy to everybody in Hollywood.
Oh gosh, that's gonna be fucked.
Yeah. There was some fun stories. So a little teaser about that one.
I'd post it. It'll be good. It'll be good. I'd put it all up there.
It was a 2-hour interview, and I'm like, man,
He said it, not you.
make like 5.
Your Honor.
I can make like 5 videos out of this, man. There's so many good stories.
That's cool.
The thing that made me laugh is like he was a drug dealer for a while, and then he got cleaned up and was selling knives, and then he was like, "Yeah, fuck this, I'm going back to being a drug
Knives.
dealer." Yeah, Larry had some awesome stories. Should we take some questions, or I don't know if you want to talk any more about the Olympia or not. I don't know if there's any good questions to take. We'll see.
You guys can start coming up with some. We've got a few.
Shigo says, I feel like classic people from There's some guys that I'm not sure what he's saying here.
He's saying that there shouldn't be as much of a concern, in his opinion, in the open bodybuilding class on shape and structure, and he thinks it should be more just about size. Like I think he brought this up when you were talking about Nick, and he thinks that for shape and structure we have classic, and that open should just be for the mutants.
I think I mean I agree up to a certain extent. You know, I mean, because you don't want it to just be, I mean, because yeah, you can look freaky, but it's just going to be like ugly, like you know, when the guys just have the huge waist, like that's the main thing is, like yeah, guys can get huge and shredded and a big waist, you know, a lot easier than keeping it under control. So it's kind of like, you know, people are already, you know, disgusted with it. you add that into the mix and it'll just be, I don't know. I agree with it a little bit, but at the same time it would just, I mean, plus like, I mean, I know nobody's doing this for their health, but people would be way more unhealthy if they didn't hold back on that just a little bit.
If you look at the judging criteria, it's size, shape, and symmetry. That's what they're looking for. Those are the three. Conditioning, I guess, plays in there.
You know, I think what it does too, when you focus on symmetry and proportions, it also pushes away from the taboo of bodybuilding. Kind of like Chase was saying, it's a lot less attractive when you got a guy who's, you know, has Palumboism and is just fucking a really ugly physique because it's just like, oh, that guy just roids to get his gains. And when you have someone like Chris Bumstead who has multi-millions of followers, it really destroys a lot of the taboos generated from bodybuilding. And I think promoting that really ugly drug look in a sense is, I don't want to call it like a drug look. I guess that's just kind of the notion that it's came to, but I think that's just not very conducive to promoting a successful sport. You know?
It's an interesting take.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like what, who's that? I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. That German bodybuilder, huge freak.
Marcus Rule.
Yeah. Rule. I mean, you get a bunch of those guys like showing up. Like it was wild, but man, it's like
smoking darts and burping and
right. Those videos of his are ridiculous.
Those are peak.
Did you see him talking about his cycles recently? I was laughing about that too. Yeah, he was on some podcast saying like he never used more than like 750 tests or something like that.
Per day.
Per day.
That's per day.
That's daily, yeah. I mean, shit, I've done that daily. That's not
he was
ridiculous.
He was on the Menace podcast. I don't remember. It was recently. I was just like, what?
That's awesome.
I'll just see if I can find it.
I had an interaction with a couple open pros on Canadian Beef last week where they were listing their cycles. And then they asked me at the end, and I said, that's really funny that I'm 100 pounds less than you guys and old enough to be your fathers. And yet 4 times as many steroids as you guys. 450 tests and 200 primo and 3 units of growth hormone. And I'm 320 on stage.
320.
That math isn't mathing.
Yeah.
I don't know why people care. Like, it's just, you know, you do what you got to do, and everybody's got to do something different.
Yeah.
And
look, whether or not it's a lot or a little, like, who gives a shit? Like, you do what you got to do, and
yeah, I guess
really,
to answer the question, who cares? It's really just the people who are critiquing from the outside looking in. Is who cares, right? Nobody of import.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Dorian seems to have been opening up more about stuff lately when he was doing. He seems to be more open about things. Yeah. Although like from talking to Larry, like Larry was saying, like he's like, we didn't use as much as you thought we did back then because we thought. He's like in the 80s. He's like guys thought we didn't talk in grams, we talked in milligrams. Because you couldn't even. It's a one if you wanted to buy that much, you couldn't even buy that much back in the 80s.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
like somebody said in the
supply issue,
comments,
too.
Roman said it's just a number. Yeah, I mean,
Valid.
whatever.
I mean, but I think the policy today is 3 cc's, right?
Yeah, it adds to the stigma at some point, right? Like if you're lying about your dosage, you're kind of adding to the idea that it's stigmatized or bad to use that much, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, we're all trying to normalize the discussion about this, and you can't normalize the discussion by lying about it. So
Very true.
everybody should just be open and honest.
Very true. Also,
Yeah, and your genetic response, the guys that are the best responders can use small amounts, right? They respond to low amounts, but they also tolerate high amounts.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, if you're going on the Olympia stage and you're using a gram and everyone else is using 10 grams, why would you do that? If you can tolerate it and you can afford it,
Yeah.
you're going to get on stage next to guys using 10 times as much stuff as you. That's what you want to do.
I mean, it just sounds stupid.
It sounds
Why would you do that?
It's like not practicing posing. Like
It's
yeah,
not-
it doesn't happen.
It's not like on stage you're going to have a sign next to you of what your cycle is,
Yeah,
you
no,
know, and they're like, "Oh, good for you. You get extra points." Like, no, you don't get shit for that. You lose is what you get.
Yeah.
You lose. Good day, sir.
there's no handicap applied because you only use this many drugs.
Right.
Right.
Like there's morals in this? No, you use your drugs and win.
Yes,
What are you doing?
Be a judge in case you get the flute from Willy Wonka and play it.
It reminds me of that scene in Game of Thrones. What was that dude's name? Bronn, who like fought as Tyrion's champion, and he kicked that guy off the tower, and they're like, "You did not fight with honor." He's like, "He did."
Yeah, that was a great scene. He did. Sorry, somebody rang my doorbell.
Oh my gosh! High alert.
I think it's.
I think you guys are
Uber
right
Eats.
though about the stigmatism, like kind of then perpetuating the stigmatism, because even recently, like I've had a couple of bikini athletes open up about what they're taking, and I'm shocked by how high the numbers are on some of them. But then also, I mean, like it just, I don't know, it kind of makes you rethink things a lot. And I still don't feel like maybe they're being completely honest. And like I've been very honest about what I've taken, but it's so tiny compared to what these people run year round. And I'm just like, I'm shocked. I'm very surprised because there is so few people who actually talk about it. Then when somebody does, and that number is so much exponentially higher than what I even in my mind imagined it could be. It's been interesting.
Oh, I've seen what some of the bikini competitors do, and it's shocking.
Yeah. Honestly, Amy, when you told us about what you were taking, I was actually a little surprised that it was low.
Well, it shows.
I'm not saying about like no, you look very good, and like, but most women I do see with success take more than what you're taking. So I mean, again, everybody's different, so it's not about
what I'm learning. Like,
so
like a lot
everyone's
more.
different, so it's about the individual, but at the same time, like yeah, you're right. Like we need to stop stigmatizing it. That's why I really appreciate what Chase is doing. You know, just being open about it, and they're showing that it, you know, this doesn't have to be dangerous. Like we can, you know, we can do this. It doesn't have to be as dangerous as people think. Like, and being open and normalizing the discussion about it will hopefully reduce the stigma, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, and it could improve the safety profile, you know, for the virilizing effect, specifically for women. You know, if there was more transparency about what women were using, and they were actually checking their labs and actually tracking their symptoms, you know, to see where those tipping points were for people. And I know that it's bio-individual, so there's going to be a uniqueness of it, and your tolerance of it is going to vary so much. But man, if we could have just a more open conversation, I feel very fortunate to be like on the older end of the sport in that sense, because these women that are running these cycles in their 20s, I mean, who knows what their health is going to be like. Kolton had a great video recently about Meg Sylvester, you know, and how drastically things have changed for her, but who knows what it took to get there. I mean, now I'm like, I'm very curious to know what people are actually running and for how long.
I mean, that's your point about like what people are running and like their health and stuff like that. Like that's part of the reason why I was motivated to do like what I'm doing, because you see, you know, the bodybuilders that have died in the last, you know, 4 years, and what sucks so much about it is we have no idea what they were doing. We have no idea what their blood work looked like. We had no idea any of their health markers. And they as far as we know, they just fucking drop dead. And so then I get all these comments of people think that I'm just going to randomly fucking die. It's like we can check all of these things and make sure like nothing's going to just fucking come out of the blue. Because like if you're not checking, then sure, it's going to appear that way. But you can slowly see things start to come on if you're paying attention a little bit.
Yeah.
So
And what Chase is running, honestly, is just the test base of most of the open guys cycles. He's not running anywhere near what those guys are using.
Right.
You know, I talk to these guys firsthand. I see them do the stuff. I know what they're doing. It's not, you know, it ain't in milligrams. It's bottles. Like
And I like about what Chase is doing too is it's not just like this is how I feel. While it is part of that, it's also here's the analytics behind it. Like here's my organ imaging, here's my actual like fat mass, here's my blood work, and then you can actually be critical and objectively say here's the left and right limits of what's okay and what's actually safe for me. Maybe you guys can depict for yourselves what might be safe, what might be actuating and not destructive. You know,
yeah. And then there's also like the worst case scenario. Something does happen to me. And it's like, well, fuck, we've got all of this information on what he was doing and his blood work and stuff. And clearly we need to find something else. You know, we need more. We need more, you know, we need to pay attention better because like, you know, it still wasn't enough. So it's just, it's part of it.
Sometimes it's just bad luck too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, so this is when people specifically speak up about, oh yeah, look at all these bodybuilders that are just dropping dead. Like it's a high risk pool. You know, we're admitting that it is a high risk pool, and within this pool of people, like to take that out of the context, to take this subset of the population and say, well, look at these people are dying. Well, and it's more, it's like it's popularized or you know, people pay attention more when one of the bodybuilders. Right. Yeah. So like there's people dropping dead all over the country, but you don't hear about that. You hear about it in this pool of people, the specific subset of the population. And it is a little bit more high risk. And when you look at it, at what they're doing and when compared to the rest of the population, it's still not that high of a percentage of people that's doing it. And it's in a high risk pool of people. It's really not, you know, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
there's a great point to follow that, and it's when Tesla first released its automatic driving. The local governments in certain states were complaining that this is highly dangerous because people were crashing. But of course, there's only Teslas which are capable of autonomic driving, and the population size is very small. So when something happens, it's huge, right? So everyone's like, oh my God, these cars are crashing themselves. But when compared to general population drivers, I think Tesla had it was 157 crashes in 1 year compared to like 10,000, you know, some astronomical number of fatal crashes. And it's like it pales in comparison, but people are so hyper focused on it because it's this very easy to point out group.
I have a Tesla. It's like 1 per 2 million miles driven.
And it's so radically safer than a human driving, but yet because it's more easy to pick out, people are like, oh, this is a huge problem. It's really not. Yeah.
It's the same thing within the bodybuilding population and people passing. Like, it's the same thing. Same idea.
Weird. It's always been weird to me because people hyper focus on that, and then like they don't say anything about the guy that's, you know, like most guys my age, like the guys that are going through their midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And I, you know, my midlife crisis might be bodybuilding and new Nikes. I don't know, but the guys, most guys my age are smoking cigars, drinking craft beers, and riding Harleys. I'm like, I would say
they've had their first heart attack. You know,
how high is the risk profile for that?
Yeah,
just ride a motorcycle alone.
Yeah, absolutely right. That's why the insurance is cheap, because they don't ever have to pay out because you don't live.
The life insurance, yeah. Yeah. I wonder what just like the motorcycle accident risk, it's got to be probably higher than what it is for
certainly.
this, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, wingsuit diving, like cliff diving with wingsuits, there's a 1 in 312,000 chance to die wingsuit diving, and I believe that's even lower of a risk than, for instance, like having a shark attack happen in the ocean.
Mm.
And I would think that bodybuilding has lesser of a risk than that.
Agreed.
In all reality.
Yeah, totally agreed. And so it's funny, like when you take it in my context now in the TRT industry that I'm in, when I see some of the medical community or doctors be really concerned about giving somebody 250 milligrams per week, and I'm just sitting there going, are you freaking kidding me? Like, do you know what I've seen and how many people and the massively abusive doses that I've seen over the last 2 decades? And you're worried about giving some guy 250 milligrams a week? Like, get out of here. Like, it's just, to me, it's like, I can't even believe that this is actually a concern.
Well, it's like, I don't see people having outrage over guys climbing Mount Everest. And I just looked it up. It's 1 in 100 that climb Mount Everest die.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Crazy.
Darwin would be so proud.
Yeah.
Those aren't good odds.
No. Yeah.
What a terrible.
And there
way
isn't
to die,
laws
too.
about it. Like, they didn't create laws saying you can't.
Yeah.
There's no scaling Mount Everest because 1% of the people die. Like,
Right.
I mean, motorcycles, your chances of death have got to be significantly more than driving a car.
Yeah. I've been on the scene of 2 motorcycle accidents, and both were well beyond my ability to save them.
Yeah.
I mean, I rode for years. I know how dangerous it is firsthand, man.
I
I've
have
had some
totaled 3 motorcycles. It's very fucked, It's very fucked.
I do love them. I wish I kind of think
There's
about
so much
getting one
fun,
once
but
in a
it's
while.
just risky shit, man. It's risky as fuck.
Well,
Yeah, and it's just
other drivers are your biggest risk.
That's the problem.
People don't
honestly.
look.
other drivers, and then if you just lose your focus for a second.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time I went down. It was just from some just hitting a wet spot on the road. It just shit like that can happen. All right, so should we shift to some questions now that we've justified our steroid abuse? Yes, and the other things that are dangerous. Look, it's fine to use steroids. These guys die climbing mountains and riding motorcycles.
Yeah.
I don't know. At the end of the day, this is the way I tell people. Look, I'm living my fucking life. Being afraid, living in fear stay on your couch is no way to live. For me.
in the United States, we have the right to the pursuit of happiness, and this makes me happy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think, I posted a video on my channel. God, it was a while ago now, but there was a study that showed it was in Olympic athletes, but the people who had knowingly used steroids during their Olympic careers lived longer than their brothers or sisters who had never used steroids. And it's interesting because their mortality rates were improved from using steroids. Now, obviously, there's confounding factors. They're like they had probably a healthier lifestyle to begin with, but it's just like it kind of goes to show that you can use these things and they aren't going to be wildly deteriorating to your health if done appropriately.
Yeah. Now, this isn't steroid abuse, but in hypogonadal men, they have 5 times the risk of all cancers and 3 times the risk of all death from all mortalities.
It's
just from having low testosterone.
Yep, that's crazy. Right?
Ridiculous.
That Finnish study that came out about 2 years ago proves that. It's
Graham brought up a point. He was like, it does seem like just anecdotally there was a big shift in the 1990s with bodybuilding. If you look at the guys at the pre-90s, early deaths and health issues versus post-90s, it seems significant. I mean, you guys can speak to this. I think that's when doses started getting more aggressive. People started trying new and wacky stuff. Also, we were talking about like the crazy shit guys used to do in the 90s. Like Nubane was common. Like guys were taking fucking opioids and shit in training and Mike, talking to Larry the other day, like Mike Mentzer using meth as a pre-workout. That was common back in the 80s.
Or GHB.
In the 90s. Yeah.
They used to use GHB as a Like all bodybuilders were using it. It was crazy.
And
I remember that.
That's where why am I spacing on it? It's the fat burning compound. It's the Jesus Christ. Horrible for you to take.
DMP.
DNP.
DMP.
So
Yeah.
that was super common back then too.
I have one guy who used it and it put him in the hospital on day 2.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fucked.
I know a guy that was
His creatinine was
same
over
thing.
2.
No way. Oh
How
my
much did he
God.
use?
I mean, it's fine now, but I don't know. It was when
I think what people do is I don't even want to talk about it because it's so dangerous, but like I think they dose it too close together without realizing like it's pretty long.
It's got like a 36-hour half-life or
and
something.
it's not
Yeah.
like it's made. Not that underground stuff is necessarily wrongly dosed or whatever, but it's made in someone's bathtub and they cap it. So like, how do you know what one could be hot, one could be like you don't know what you're taking.
Yeah.
It says 5 milligrams or something. Is that really 5 milligrams?
Right.
Is it really DMP?
No one take DMP. Okay, we didn't talk about DMP. Oh fuck.
All right, what do we got for questions, Mr. Harding? We'll see what we got here. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would take DMP. It's insane
It's
to me.
risky.
I
mean,
get
it's-
people.
It's absolutely
place
not worth the
probably.
risk. Like, so not worth the risk.
I mean,
For a little bit
have
of
you
fat
ever not been
burning,
able to?
like,
I get people shredded all the time. I just showed him a picture of my
Everyone
guy
can get
today.
Anyone can get it. You just gotta try.
Yeah,
it.
and I don't use anything that extreme.
Well, I think,
Mhm.
or they're not. If they're trying to do it on their own, they're just not doing it the right way. Like a lot of new clients try all sorts of goofy shit to get lean. Right?
Chase, how much have you used?
I've tried DNP, yes, but so when I used it, I used what's a pill? 250 milligrams every other day. And
Yes.
never went over that, and I didn't have any issues with it. And but I mean, I wouldn't do it again. So, but yeah, like most of the people that are having problems with it, they're doing 250 every day, and then they go to 500 every day, and then 750, like, and they just start ramping it up, and it's stupid. But yeah.
All right, what's the first question we got here, Colin?
Graham wants to know if we think Martin Fitzwater can break into the top 6. He says the guy's got a good back and great shape. Arms are a weak point, but he thinks he could see him in 6th place. What do you guys think?
Oh, he looked really good when I saw him. He was the guest poser at my show recently, just last month, well, a month and a half ago. And he looked great. I just don't know if he's big enough though.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
he's big enough.
Yeah.
He
good.
might place in that top 10. It's just
Yeah.
he's very compact and it looks great. It's and he's got great, like his waist is tiny, but compared to what I'm thinking is that Samson and those taller dudes are going to all fit in kind of that 5th through 10th. And if he's standing next to them, I don't know, it's kind of tough.
I think he'd make top 10 for sure though. I mean, I have him in my top 10.
Yeah, I would say top 10, but top 6.
It's so tough. It's so
I
hard
don't
when you
know.
see them all up against each other though.
I mean, he was right behind Nick, when they competed against each other. But and apparently he has made a little bit of progress since then. So I don't know. I think he'll be pretty close. Maybe 7th or 6th. But yeah.
I really like the flow of his physique. I think with another 10, 15 pounds, he could be very, very competitive.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's something too, the conversation about should there be symmetry included in open bodybuilding. Even if it was just size, you still have to like the way that size looked on that frame, unless you were literally just measuring a person's arms against another person's arms, because that size on different people is going to look different and be spread out differently. I mean, Martin is really balanced, like Kolton said, and there's just something very appealing when you look at him top to bottom that looks really good. So you can't take that out of it regardless of size.
Yep. You have to look good on stage next to the other guys. Ultimately, that's what it is. All right, what do we got up next here?
Stone Chew wants to know if you guys think that overtraining total burn of CNS while on low carb can cause sudden change in blood pressure over a few days.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to cause a change in your heart rate too, and that's going to, by default, change your blood pressure. You start burning out your CNS, you're elevated. You're going to start elevating your resting heart rate. You're going to just start not feeling good overall. Blood pressure is going to change.
Sleep's
Stress.
going to go to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, my resting pulse at the end of contest prep, it just goes.
Mine
What would
goes
that?
down, even with the stress. Like I feel like because my body's just like, no, we're in like a low energy mode or something. Like we're gonna knock down the heart rate at night.
We were talking on the podcast with Paul yesterday. I swear I'm the exact opposite of everybody else. People talk about getting tired and run down at the end of prep. I am so amped up at the end of prep. I don't know why I get like that. I just get like spun up. I'm sweating, sitting everywhere. I can't sleep.
What would you say would cause the burn of CNS? Is it like increased catecholamines like norepinephrine and epinephrine?
No, it's nerve stimulation, like buildup of calcium ions.
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting.
Calpens.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right, what do we got up next here?
So sorry, just to continue. So it's just overstimulation through calcium ions.
Yeah, well, you're not clearing them at a certain point. And steroids can help with that to some degree, but it's more that you might not feel it, right? Because they stimulate the nerve too.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting. Thank you.
See, Fox Precision Nutrition wants to know if you're still doing your GH before bed. He's been doing it before bed for a couple weeks.
I do mine all before bed, whole dose.
Yeah, me
Same.
too. The main reason for me is I just can't stay awake if I take it during the day.
So because I have a prescription for it, I have doctors looking at me. I have a nephrologist and an endocrinologist that look at me. They know what doses I use of everything. And they were adamant when I saw them last time that I stay with them before bed because my health looks better that way.
Interesting.
And that's just the way that they all want it run. It makes sense. They're like, why would you split it up? Why would you want your GH constantly elevated throughout the day?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're
I
going to
would
become
imagine.
diabetic and you're tired. It doesn't make any sense. And your pituitary comes right back online. So it's not like hitting an androgen receptor where you've HPTA and stuff is shut down for months.
Yeah, right.
Pituitary is right back online as soon as it's out of you. So it's like if you inject it at night by 3 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, your pituitary is still secreting DH.
I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is that, Kurt, is that your pituitary will come back online much more quickly than the HPTA.
It's like most of the effects are from IGF anyway. You don't like the GH effect is so minimal.
Yeah, I would worry about I thought about that too with splitting it up into multiple doses. Like the guys, I've noticed when I do the dose at night, I don't have issues with my blood sugar starting to get high.
Well, because you have a natural insulin response after like 90 minutes after you fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would think that the guys that are running it and splitting it up in multiple doses all day long, maybe outside of contest prep,
and how are you timing it? It takes 4 hours to get in your blood. So if you do it in the morning, it's not ready for cardio. Right now, if you did it at 8 in the morning, it's ready at lunchtime. You've already eaten. You're not fasted anymore at that point, if that's your concern. Not that that's the biggest concern, but it doesn't make any sense if you shut at night, and you do fasted cardio. At least it's still in you.
Guy here wants to thank you, Amy. He said he wanted to thank Amy for her advice on to avoid mesh on hernia repair. I went to insurance provider doctor, insisted on mesh, and I got a second opinion from a plastic surgeon who said the exact opposite, and mesh was overkill. Went to the plastic surgeon, and now a week after, I feel great. Already back in the gym, very happy with the results.
That's great. Great, Amy.
That is amazing. Oh, yeah. Always get a second opinion. Always. Yeah, that's so awesome to hear. Quicker recovery. I mean, I've seen maybe 5 cases where mesh was absolutely necessary, and those were pretty much always in women who had like very weak abdominal wall. They were under-muscled. They'd had like multiple pregnancies. I mean, they had massive tearing. I mean, just so involved. And I think for for men, if you could, I mean, avoiding the mesh at all, if you can, just because I just don't see the added benefit. And then the issues that people have with it, if rejection, if you can feel it, like it hurts, it pulls all the time, like it's, unless it is absolutely necessary, you want to avoid it. So yay,
That's really good.
that's awesome.
All right, what do we got up next here?
I got to take off, guys. So it was nice seeing everybody. Thank you,
Ryan.
everybody.
All right.
Ryan.
See you,
See ya.
Ryan.
Later.
I haven't heard about this, but Jason wants to know if anybody's heard and has any information about a new phenylprop ester / MPP that he heard about.
What would be
think he's
new?
referring
Compounded.
to. I think what he's referring to is how Chase and Kurt might have talked about how NPP wasn't necessarily
Oh yeah,
a good
that's what he
choice.
said.
Oh, yeah. So MPP is not. This is one of those topics I don't want to get involved with because it's going to destroy a lot of things. I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. MPP is not a short ester. The phenylpropionate ester is not short. It has a phenyl group, and it has an oxygen on it, so it's actually larger. And the reason why it's at 100 milligrams per cc is not because it's a short ester like trinacetate. It's because the ester itself takes up a ton of room. So if you actually look at the pharmacokinetics of the drug, it lasts as long as DECA in the blood, except it never reaches an effective level. And that's why guys are like, I got really anxious on DECA, but when I switch to MPP, I'm not anxious. It's because the blood level never gets high. And then the other issue is it doesn't. So when we create drugs, we look at something called first compartment metabolism and second compartment metabolism. It's how the doses stack. With a straight chain fatty acid like ananthate, every time you take a dose, it ladders up. With MPP, because it's not entirely broken down, you never really get a stacking. So it's the other reason why guys feel it more when they use it frequently, because you're getting these little bumps. But if you actually look at a chart, DECA peaks way up here, MPP peaks down here, and then tapers all the way down. So that's the reason why the FDA pulled it. And there's studies on this stuff from the 60s. It's that unless you took organic chemistry and you know calculus, you can't read the study.
So
Yeah,
Testosterone cypionate's the same way. I'm actually doing a case study right now, a doctor in Florida, where we're going to show how cypionate is not an effective ester for anything outside of TRT, because you never get the same peaks. And same with Parabol. Any of the ones that have that cyclic ring, it's not really effective.
So just in practical application, why wouldn't it be effective in terms of a bodybuilding like application, NPP for instance?
Because you're not getting a serum level high enough. So it's not that it's not doing anything, but you're just not getting it as high as you would with the straight chain fatty acid.
Okay. Interesting.
So I'm not trying to discourage people from using it. There's a reason why the FDA had it on the market for 1 year and yanked it. They tried all different esters with nandrolone, and decanoate was the one they stuck with for humans.
Right.
Mintos. I can send you the Mintos study if you want to read it. The problem, one, people don't have access to the full thing. I can send you the access. And like I said, it's all calculus to show this stuff. So it's like most people can't read it.
It's been a long time since I've taken calculus.
And then you need organic chemistry to understand Hunkel's rule with aromatics, right? So that's a math formula too, to calculate the size of an aromatic ring.
There was a follow-up here on the GH question. He said, in clients, have any of you seen HGH use cause pre-diabetes or diabetes as a result of frequent administration? I've
not seen elevated blood glucose, but nothing close to anything diabetes or pre-diabetes.
Yeah, I've had people with elevated glucose and A1C, and usually you can just correct that by just putting them on a diet, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's usually the lifestyle that drives that more so than the growth hormone.
Yeah.
And I've used more growth than anybody, and I'm not diabetic yet. So
yeah, my A1C was a 5 on 9 units of Serostim.
Yeah.
I think it's just body fat. If you have a huge amount of body fat, you're going to become diabetic regardless of what you do.
I mean, I'm diabetic, but it's unrelated to the GH.
Yeah.
I've actually seen more people improve their fasting blood glucose with administration of GH in certain circumstances too, where they have a large mass increase and then it starts to go from mid 90s down to 80s consistently, outside of having peak concentrations.
By the way, that last guy's question, Daniel, he has a podcast that I've seen a lot of his
He
his
talks
videos
to
of. They're very good.
Roderick Chavez a lot too.
Oh yeah, I have seen
He-
Daniel's podcast.
Yeah, the ones I was really listening to the other day was with Lyle McDonald. Pretty good stuff.
Oh, about the GLP-1s.
Yep.
Yeah, those were interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
Daniel, if you're still listening, you'll have to come on sometime. We'll have you on.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. All right, what else do we have here? Any other questions?
See, we got
I'm hoping we run out so I can go watch football.
Dave B. Have any of your guys seen Telmisartan cause reactive hypoglycemia post meals with no exogenous insulin used?
I've seen it cause blood sugar issues when guys come off. Yeah, sometimes with that. Sorry, I was thinking it was Ozempic.
I don't know if Telmisartan, let me look it up, can cause hypoglycemia. I've never seen that. Telmisartan can lower blood glucose and help with metabolic changes. Yeah, it says it. But it says it's only in diabetic populations.
I would imagine it's just due to its antioxidant status, possibly, and
It says that it's because of metabolic changes because of its PPARY agonist activity, causing metabolic changes. Telmisartan can control glucose excretion in diabetic rats. Adiponectin protein expression. Telmisartan can induce adiponectin protein expression, which can help lower blood glucose levels. AMP kinase activation. Telmisartan can activate AMP kinase, which can lower blood glucose levels. And catecholamine levels, if I can talk. Telmisartan can reduce catecholamine levels, which can help reduce lower blood glucose levels. This
Basically,
is all courtesy of ChatGPT.
Basically, just increase your growth hormone dose, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Then you don't have to worry about it. Let's take it all day, every day.
Keep that blood sugar nice and high.
That is not medical advice, guys.
Or you could use an AI and not have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. He was talking about blood sugar, though, right? Not blood pressure.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Well, I was using Telmisartan then.
Yeah.
He's using Telmisartan because he's high blood pressure.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
And when you see that, they generally have an E2 of like 120, and they take the Telmisartan to counteract that instead of managing the cause of blood pressure.
Yeah, it says here that the glucose-lowering effects of Telmisartan can also be because of an increased levels of plasma insulin, suggesting that hypoglycemic effects from Telmisartan, this is from a study, seems to have an effect on insulin secretion. That's interesting. I didn't know that it affected it. All right, what do we got next?
All right, let's see. Another good one from Graham. What happens if the Mr. O doesn't up their prize money? Arnold is $500K next year, and he thinks Mr. O is still offering $400. Could Arnold eclipse the O as the premier show?
I think Arnold wants to.
I think it already is. I mean, look, I don't want to be rude, but every Olympia that I've been to, I've been underimpressed, we'll say. And Arnold just seems like it has a better expo, a better, like, more efficiently ran show. Where the Olympia, I'm sitting there until like 1 a.m. waiting for shit to happen. And I don't know. I just feel like it's already facilitated a lot better, in my opinion.
I mean, the Arnold ran really efficiently. The expo was great. It was just well done. It's pretty easy to get in and out of.
I agree.
But there's no casinos and no strippers, so that kind of sucks.
You gotta weigh.
Yeah,
but you get to watch Arnold like actually drooling over wellness competitors. So there's that.
That's so funny.
Oh my god, your glutes and everything.
I hate it. I cringe so hard watching. Like, God, don't talk to him. Just go. His
Like,
questions are so bad too.
I'm like, how does he get away with this?
Could you imagine Arnold doing like leading a podcast with a wellness girl or something? Just be.
I would
terrible
love to
allegations.
see it, because it would start off, like it would start off with him like asking questions, and then the questions would be a little inappropriate, but then it would eventually just be him talking about himself.
Yeah.
Well, he just asked the dumbest questions though. So it's just like, how much cardio did you do? It's like,
Well, yeah.
and they're like, I did my cardio. Okay, you want to know how much cardio I did?
Those are the questions that they handed him. And then he starts asking questions like, what did you do exactly exercise wise to get your glutes
Right.
so good?
And they're like, that's. Really? You want me to go into that? What are you talking?
Shapely right now.
That poor girl, she looked so mortified when he was asking her.
She looked so uncomfortable.
Oh, man. Yeah, Arnold still has that dog in him.
Yeah, Arnold definitely still has that dog in him, man.
Exactly.
That dog still can hunt.
He has that dog in him. I think he had that schnapps in him that night.
I think
too.
he had some schnapps in him too.
Oh god damn.
Well, you've seen the videos of him putting schnapps in his protein shakes.
Yeah.
He had a couple of those that day. I think that's also called being in your late 70s and not giving a fuck.
Yep.
Oh god! All right, what do we got next here? Now that we've talked about Arnold, and I pretty much probably pissed the whole bodybuilding world off at this point.
Christian wants to know, how did Chase get so handsome?
Melanotan.
That was the best profile picture in the world. Anytime Fitness shirt. the Jersey Shore tan.
Oh my
and faux hawk with
That's golden.
the sunglasses and the duck lips. Oh shit, man. It's like, it's douchebag bingo right there. That's fantastic. He hit everything.
Amazing. I love the anytime finish shirts. That's gold.
How though, Chase? How did you do it?
Don't be fat. That's number one. Don't be fat. That'll ugly you right up.
Oh, fuck.
That's it.
All right.
Seriously, you go look at some pictures when I'm 285. It's not pretty.
Oh shit. I guess in a similar vein, Krushik 559 wants to know how he can get a signed picture, signed poster, Paul. Where do we go to get those?
I'll be signing packs at the Olympia. So
Bring your own baby oil.
Yeah.
To the Olympia guys. We're not handing that
I'll
out.
be doing rub downs for
Whoa.
Just come to booth 230
Jesus Christ.
or whatever it is. I don't remember.
201.
201.
Yeah, go to 230. Go to 230. I won't be there.
I did have some people ask me for my autograph at the Arnold. It was so weird, man. I was like, what?
Yeah, I signed some belts.
While they were wearing them?
Belts with a B, not delts.
Yeah, I signed some belts too. My
Did you get
daughter,
down while they were wearing them, you signed them?
right on the buckle.
Hang on. Let me get down there. That's not a Sharpie.
My daughter always gets mortified when people recognize me and want to fangirl on me. It's so weird. She gets embarrassed. It's funny. All right, what do we got next here?
Excuse me. Barn wants to know what we know about Wegovy and all those types of drugs. A lot of regular people are using them. Some seeing little effects, but a lot of people are seeing serious effects, serious results rather.
Well, I'll just start with it. Wegovy's one of the brand name drugs in a classification of drugs called GLP-1 agonists. There's many of them, and they all kind of have different kinetics in some capacity. I use them with clients who really struggle with diet adherence on preps, but essentially they limit hunger through a couple neurological mechanisms as well as like gut-derived mechanisms, and you can really stunt hunger almost entirely with them. However, some people I've seen have issues with prolonged restriction of hunger and like bowel movement kinetics kind of slowing down, so they reach a lot of digestive.
Other words, you can't take a shit.
Yeah, basically you can't pass bowel movements. Which
Bowel
fucking
movement
sucks.
kinetics. Bowel movement.
Otherwise known as a brick of a turd.
Yeah.
Kolton was a bowel movement kinetic officer in the military, if I'm not mistaken. Bowel movement ballistics.
Got the biggest award for professional inspections.
It's the
How have
only
you been
highbrow
titrating
discussion.
people off of GLP-1s, Kolton? So when you like during contest prep, do you wait until they're kind of fully reversed before you start titrating down? Kind of like
For
the
sure.
refill approach?
Yeah, for sure. Because I thought like, people are always like super overly confident in themselves, and they're like, I'll be fine. Like I can crush this reverse. And then, I've done it 3 times with people, and it was just a fucking nightmare. It was like 30 pounds in a week, and they just couldn't stop eating. There was no satiation no matter what they ate. It was just huge rebound effect. So I keep it in. I just halve the dose, usually of whatever it was, unless it's at the minimum effective dose, which I usually keep it around anyways, for at least 4 to 5 weeks until, we've successfully brought calories back to at least like homeostatic tendencies.
I wish
And then
Justin was.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wish Justin was here. He always tells me Graylin always wins. That's why he pushes the food after shows. He's like, guys are just gonna eat like shit anyway, so we might as well just fill them up on some good food.
It's true. It's very true.
He's a
Yeah, so
genius, though.
I'm using Retatrutide right now, and I think it's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, I hate to say it, but I love them just because I love work and focusing. And
well, I mean, the thing about like, I feel like our situation is because we're like on all of our other shit like so well, and we can get such a like quick dramatic effect from what these things can do for us, and like get it in and get it out relatively quickly. And I like the idea of using it for like a mini cut to get, insulin sensitivity back really quick, get off a lot of fat, a lot of water, a lot of bloat real quick, and then get rid of it and continue on with your bulk. And that's what I've been doing with it. And it's made it really easy, like to diet and not think about food at all. I mean, and as long as you are wise about your dosing and start really low and work your way up, like the side effects, like there's no nausea. There's not, like, I haven't noticed any of that, except I don't care about food. I just don't care about it. I'll eat it. I can still eat 3 pounds of meat, but I don't care to, go to the pantry and have more of something else. And I do get full, quicker than normal. And that stops me from even, giving a shit about having more food. So it's just, I think, I think over time we're going to learn better ways to use these things. And I think it's going to become a lot more mainstream in bodybuilding. And I've heard of a lot more pros utilizing these kinds of things to help with like the last, 6 to 8 weeks leading into a show. And it's just, they're interesting for sure. Specific, like each each iteration they come out with is just a little bit more focused and better. Like the Retatrutide specifically, like because they added glucagon to it, like I really like the idea of it because it's causing your liver to release its glycogen. And through that, you're going to get, you're going to reduce your like fat on your liver and anything that's going on in there. So it's going to clean up your liver because you are depleting the glycogen out of it. And with that, like you're going to have a little bit more energy than some of the older GLP-1s because your blood sugar is going to be a little bit higher because of that. And, like I haven't had any issues with like pumps or anything like that. I don't know. the negative stories that I feel like you hear about it largely come from either people that are crazy, like impatient, like they just take the dose up too fast, too soon, or they don't have any idea how to dose a peptide at all. I just had somebody message me the other day. They were like, they said, I took 16 milligrams of Tirzepatide the other day or months ago, and he was like, I couldn't eat or shit for 2 weeks. And I was like, you took 16 milligrams. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, you start at 1 and work your way up. And he was like, well, the vial was 16 milligrams, and I thought you would just take the vial. And I was like, that's not at all what you're supposed to do. Like, I don't know. I feel like those kinds of accidents is what really fucks people up. And a lot of people are stupid and aren't going to do that.
A bottle a day doesn't fight everything.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. So far, I'm a fan. I really like it. But I think as the years go by and as new ones come out, it's just going to get better at this point. So, because they already have gotten so much better. Like the original, not original, but the first week-long one, the semaglutide, the Ozempic, that worked because it made people fucking sick. Yeah. And now they're the newer iterations. They are putting things in like the GIP and the glucagon, prevent that nausea. So yeah, I mean, they're just slowly kind of getting rid of the negative side effects and keeping the appetite under control. And yeah, anyways, so far I'm really liking it. So far I see a lot of benefit from it, but I can definitely see how people can screw it up. And in our community, again, it's like you're going to see a quick result because we know how to eat properly. We're training hard. We're doing all these other things that the people that are being studied, they're crazy overweight, probably not training, probably not eating right, just eating whatever. And so their results are still amazing. On Retatrutide, it's 25% of your body weight in 48 weeks or something like that. It's insane. And those are on, average Gen Pop people. You take that with people like us. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, I've lost 15 pounds or something because there's all the other things that come with taking the GLP and then being in a deficit and doing everything else. It's really interesting. So
Chase Barn wants to know if you've made a video about this.
Not yet. No, not yet. I just put a post up actually on Instagram talking about my last 2 cuts with it. But yeah, the way that I see it is I think it would be really good in the bodybuilding community as a way to just throw in a quick mini cut, go into a hard deficit so that you can get insulin sensitivity back and then drop it out and continue on with your bulk. And, because like I said, the first time I used it in 4 weeks time, I lost 40 pounds. It was insane. Weight
crazy, man.
It was just so that's earlier this year when I went from 285 to 236. That's 50 pounds. That was a 4 week stint of Tirzepatide, and it was crazy. And then went off that and started bulking up, and then hit it again and coming back.
Why did you switch them? I'm curious because I like I'm totally already spacing on the word test. What the fuck? What is it
Tirzepatide?
Tirzepatide. That one's my preferred one, but why did you switch?
Because I was curious about the whole glucagon part of Retatrutide, and something else that I was curious about was pairing that up with empagliflozin, which you pee out carbs with that. So it's okay, if I can take this, get my liver glycogen out, and then pee it out with empagliflozin, how much more of a result is that going to cause? Plus, something else that I'm doing right now is I'm getting an MRI in a week from now because I'm interested in seen how much fat I've gotten out of my liver and how much visceral fat I've burned in the last couple months since my last MRI. So, yeah,
That'll be really interesting to see.
Yeah, going hard on that. So,
Yeah, that's interesting, man. For me, I would be a bikini competitor if I did that.
Yeah.
well, that's what's crazy is like I drop weight quick, but it's like I'm still people are like, how are you not like super fucking flat? You know, I don't know. It's crazy how well it's working. But like I said, I just put up a post on my Instagram, like showing my last 2 cuts, and the time between them is like 3 or 4 months or something. And I'm leaner now than I was then. And I'm like, 3 or 4 pounds up, and it's pretty obvious. So it's just, I don't know, things are working with it just fine. Like I'm not having an issue with like losing muscle or anything like that. So
Let me show a picture. Is it this one, Chase?
Yeah.
He'll look so good at 260. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do look
But, and then if you go over to like the next picture, you can see the 2 cuts next to each other, just kind of get a better idea. And then if you go over one more, you can see, or no, wrong thing. Yeah, one more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, May to July. Like,
Wow.
I mean, you still look pretty good at 282.
I mean, there's a lot of bloat there, but I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but it's just like, it's crazy what can be done when, everything is in play. And what I like talk about in that post is like, I don't like dieting because it's really hard on like my willpower. Like it drains me, and that's why I haven't like seriously dieted since the contest I did in 2021, because it's just like I was so burnt out from that, because it was like a 6-month prep, and I was just so sick of any of that, and mentally just like mind fucked from it. And then it's like doing this, like it was so damn easy. It's like I could easily do it again in a month's time, and like it's like you're not draining your willpower to diet because you don't feel like you're actually dieting, because it's been so simple. Like I'm not even like counting calories.
Wow.
I'm just listening to my appetite. I make sure I eat 3 pounds of meat a day.
Yeah, I've been thinking about incorporating you said GLP-1 agonists? Is that what they're called?
Yeah. I mean, I make sure that I eat 2.5 to 3 pounds of meat a day.
Right.
I cook that. I focus on that, and then I just kind of let my appetite dictate what am I going to eat.
What you described as the willpower being drained on a diet, that's what happens to me. And then like when the willpower is gone, it's like, well, fuck. I'm not going to stick to it at this point, like, I mean, the wind blows the wrong way. I'm like, well, I guess I'm off the diet now, like, but if I have a little help maintaining that willpower along the way, shit, maybe that's what I'm missing.
I never even thought about that for you. That might be a good tool, Colin.
Yeah.
It's really weird, because if you look into some other things that they're using these, like what they're studying them for, like, it makes you, it kind of like takes away your desire for whatever addiction that you have. Like they're researching it for smoking. Like people just like, I don't care to do that anymore. Just like with food, it's like, I don't care to feel stuffed anymore. I don't care to eat that anymore. It's just weird how it like turns that switch off. And even like alcoholism, I think they're studying for that. It's really interesting. And they've also found that like there are GLP-1 receptors everywhere in our body, even in our muscle. And at a proper dose where you can like eat enough, it technically will help build muscle. because it's making, you know, your cells like that much more insulin sensitive and all that. So there are people that are like looking into it like at really, really low doses that are not for weight loss purposes, like really microdosing the shit out of it. Because like the studies, like the original dose or the starting dose for a lot of, well, for like Tirzepatide and Retatrutide is 2 milligrams is like the start dose for like weight loss specifically, but they're studying it at like less than 1 milligram doses a week for different things like autoimmune diseases and for building muscle and those kinds of things. Like there's a lot that they're still looking into with what, you know, GLP-1s can do. So it's definitely a very interesting thing that I've been looking into lately.
Awesome.
Are you using any stems or any other fat burners with it, or are you just running it by itself?
No. I mean, I haven't.
I don't know if you know this.
I've been on.
Ace is actually a minimalist when it comes to supplementation.
Oh man, I'm on all
What
of
a
them.
foolish question to ask.
No, dude, I haven't changed my supplement. Man, I've been on like a decent amount of cleanse for a while. God, when did I start all that? When I started my cycle where I was building up my testosterone doses, so that was like 16 weeks ago. I haven't changed fat burners since then, honestly. Like I've been on Clen, I've been on ephedrine off and on, I've been on Carterine, I've been on, I mean, not DNP, but out.
Everything short of
everything else, basically. Yeah.
I feel like I throw Clen in, I just like the weight just starts falling off of me. The fat, anyway.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, you pair up something like a GLP-1 with all these other things, and then you're eating right and you're training hard and doing cardio. It's just, I mean, it's been crazy for me to see how quickly things can change, you know, with it. So,
well, whatever you're doing, it's working. I think it's take everything.
Yeah, take everything.
Basically, yeah. Take enough steroids so you don't lose your muscle, and yeah, you'll be good.
Hey guys, I gotta bounce. I have a call.
Yeah, we need to wrap up anyway. I gotta
Okay,
hop off here.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Appreciate each and every one of you participating on Sunday, especially 150 or so people hung on during football.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
We were almost up to 160 concurrent viewers. during
Yeah,
football.
man, I'm surprised.
Appreciate that.
Are we giving the NFL a run for its money?
Yeah, right.
I think we're just not competing against Steve today. That's what
Yeah, maybe that's what it
what
is.
the difference is. All right, guys, have a great day. Talk to each and every one of you later. Love all of you.
Adios.
See ya.